vibe, personally, because you're sad that you're not playing. Now you're more so excited, and it's just you feel like you're doing what you're supposed to do because things are going the way you're supposed to do or supposed to go because you get to have your season. So ever since they announced the season, I guess the biggest thing has just been mentally, it's like a relief almost.
Our first question is from Aaron McMahon.
Ronnie, thanks for doing this. I wanted to ask you about Joe Milton. Obviously, he didn't play much last year, but how different has it been catching passes from him this year, maybe compared to last year? Have you seen a difference in his arm and kind of the different type of throws he's been doing?
Not necessarily the throws, but just all around, just game, I guess. Joe as a quarterback, I talked about it with one of the guys probably like a week ago, and this is the best I've ever seen Joe. Joe got here a semester before me, but I've been around Joe just as much as anybody, and he's just lights out right now. It's very exciting to play alongside him. And like I said, I told the guys the other day, I was like, man, this is the best I've ever seen him play.
Our next question is from Tom Crawford.
Yeah, Ronnie, with Samerstill and CJ and Giles doing that freshman, sophomore year, you're the KG veteran. What are you seeing in that first and second year upgrade from those three receivers and in terms of heading into this season from last year?
I think the biggest thing for those guys is mentally. I feel like everything about like the playbook and the work we put in, not necessarily together, but like on your own or whatnot in the off season, and especially though mentally, I feel like those guys have turned it up quite a bit to just take on bigger roles and be able to play every position on the field. I feel like their freshman year, all of them were kind of focused in on just one thing, and like from now or from their freshman year to right now, you can just tell mentally they're very sharp and can dissect the whole offense.
Our next question is from Tom Van Haren.
Hey, Ronnie, if we can go back to Joe Milton for a second. I know you guys have practiced together, but you're going to be breaking in, whether it's Joe or Cade, you're going to be breaking in a new starting quarterback. With this offseason, what all have you done to try to build chemistry and timing and make sure that process doesn't get interrupted? And maybe what has Joe done to help organize that process or help that along?
With Joe specifically, me and him got back to Ann Arbor like a lot sooner than like everybody else. I think me and him both have been here since April. So me and him got a lot of work in together throughout that time period, just because it was literally just me and him at all of Ann Arbor. Nobody else is here. And Cade and I also have worked. Cade's always putting in extra work as well, whether that's like before or after practice. But Cade and I have thrown it just a random field before, just because, both of those guys, constant. It's never stopping for either one of them. And I think that's why they're so good at what they do. They just they love the game so much. Like every day, they want more work. They want to do more work. And I'm lucky enough just to be able to tag along with them.
Our next question is from John Borton. John, unmute your line.
All right, you got me?
Yes.
Hello? All right. Ronnie, again, thanks for doing this. Have you had any chance through this whole process to have conversations with Nico Collins and with or without him, maybe assess the strength of this group around you?
I've talked with Nico. Not much about what he's got going on, because he's doing what he's doing for his his journey and whatnot. I'm happy for him, of course. I'm never gonna second guess him on what he's got going on. I'm all 10 toes with whatever he's got. And our room with him, of course, would be I mean, better, you know. I mean, he's one of the best receivers, I think, that, personally, I've ever been around, one of the best receivers. And, I mean, so, of course, you know, not having him is, like, kind of buns. But, you know, I mean, our room is still very good, though. I mean, I'm not discouraged or anything like that, you know, without running out there with number 4. But, I mean, of course, you know, having Nico, it would be huge. He's a very, very talented receiver.
Good. Thank you.
Next question is from Ryan Zook.
Hey, Ronnie. Coach Gaddis talked yesterday about the speed of the freshman wide receivers, A.J. Henning and Roman Wilson. Has there been any anecdotes or any instances where you've kind of seen that on display throughout camp so far? Or have they ran any 40 times recently that has wowed you guys or anything like that?
No, not necessarily, but you definitely can see it, you know, just, you know, when coming off the ball and whatnot. Like, you notice just when a guy's really fast, you know, just how I mean, they explode off the ball when they've got whatever route they've got going on. Their first, you know, 3-4 steps is, you can just see the speed in those guys.
And just another quick question. With the Big Ten protocols in place now, how confident are you in the Big Ten being able to play 9 games in 9 weeks?
I mean, I'm very confident. I know at least up here, you know, we've always taken care of business and kept everybody as much as we could to you know, to test negative and whatnot. So, like, you know, I feel like as long as the Big Ten is doing what we've been doing, I think we can get 9 games out whenever we want.
Next question's from Rayner.
With the departures of, you know, DPJ, obviously Tariq last year, and now Nico, I mean, how much do you feel that you're kind of the guy that, you know, Joe needs to kind of rely on or, you know, depend on? And also, I mean, do you see yourself doing more than lining up in the slot, maybe, you know, playing more outside than you did last year?
Yeah, I definitely think this year I'll move around more than what I did last year. I mean, I'm just, you know, I mean, of course, losing all those guys sucks as well. I mean, those guys are all great guys as well. I mean, I'm just ready, you know, for however coach needs me to be, wherever I need to be. And, like, that's just the role I'm going to attack, whether that's slot, outside, both, or whatever he wants, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just how I'm going to prepare, and that's how I've always prepared. And, yeah.
And to follow up, I mean, Josh talked about kind of eliminating some of the drops and things like that. I mean, is there anything that you've done in the off season as a group to improve that aspect of the receiving?
Just from, like, a drop standpoint, I think just receivers all together. We just put, you know, just more, like, emphasis on, like, you know, not being lackadaisical with any drill, any catches, whatever we got going on, you know what I'm saying? Nothing, don't let the ball ever hit the floor.
Thanks.
Yep.
Our next question is from Ashley.
Hey, Ronnie, with, you know, DPJ, Tariq gone, obviously we don't know exactly what Nico's going to do. I'm curious, since you're a guy coming back with, you know, the most experience now in this room, what's it been like from a leadership standpoint to maybe kind of help some of these younger guys, underclassmen along, and how do you think you've grown in that regard in the last year or so?
I mean, I guess in the last year or so, I guess it's just been more of what's the word? Like I guess I realized it more, you know, especially with all those guys, you know, gone now. It's just like I'm like low key, like kind of old. And, you know, for all the guys, all the younger guys, every day in practice, I just want to show them, you know, like like the effort it takes, you know, whether that's like when you get the ball or not, or when you're out there blocking on the edge. Like, I just want to show all the guys, you know, the intensity that we got to play with, especially with all the tall guys leaving. We're not as tall no more. So we definitely got to be a lot more feisty than what we were.
Our next question is from Jason Lewis.
Hey, Ronnie. Coach Gaddis yesterday, you know, praised the wide receiver room and how well you guys have come together and how good this group can be this year, even with all the guys that you did lose. What have you been most impressed with the room as a whole, and maybe who has kind of stood out to you that might make a big jump this year?
I mean, I've been most impressed with everybody. I think what's it called? Everybody has, like I said before, like mentally, everybody has grown. Like you can just see it. They've grown so much, just mentally in the playbook and being able to play everywhere. And as for guys that I think could just make a jump, I mean, definitely CJ, Cornelius Johnson, and Mikey Samerstill. Both of those guys have been just dominant throughout this whole offseason and little preseason that we've been taking care of.
And then how do you feel like these extra 5 weeks, obviously I'm sure you would have wanted to start it on time, but how have you guys as a group really taken advantage of these extra few weeks that you will have to prepare before the season gets started?
Just, sharpening up everything again, mentally for one, making sure our bodies are ready to go, making sure we're getting everybody healthy. And, just playing football, I guess, playing more football.
Thanks so much.
Our next question is from Hunter Davidson.
What's up, Ronnie? Last season, you led the team in receiving yards and led the Big Ten in yards after catch. What have you added to your game this year to maintain that level of play or build on it, knowing that you're wide receiver 1 on the depth chart and you're going to demand a lot more attention from defenses?
Overall, I guess something that I focused on a lot this offseason is just speed and strength. I guess specifically speed. I got a lot of good work with our training staff in the weight room to work on speed and just little things. Watching film, seeing myself, envisioning myself making plays, and just wanting to make more and more plays, I guess.
Our next question is from Angelique.
Ronnie, you just mentioned working on your strength. Can you share how you came up with the pushing the Chevy Tahoe around the neighborhood and what that did for you?
That was more my dad. I came home, because of quarantine or whatever, and that was the second day I was home. He said we're gonna push the truck, so it was definitely his idea, and I got to race the twins. They pushed a little Lexus, and I had to push the Tahoe. So it was two of them with a car not even half the size, but, it was fun. It was definitely more fun, though. Definitely a lot of fun racing those two, doing that.
How old are the twins, Ronnie?
They are 16 now. They're old.
Thank you.
Our next question is from Orion.
Hi, Ronnie. Sorry, I was muted there. I was curious. Obviously, you guys haven't put on pads yet, but what are some of the cornerbacks that have really caught your eye when going up against them in workouts and drills and whatnot?
I think all the corners have been really well. One though, he was playing receiver last year, is George. George is now at DB, and I think he's been doing really good, especially considering he didn't play DB until this year. He was a receiver all last year, so for this to be his first time at DB, I think he's been doing really well.
Mm-hmm. And if I could follow up, yesterday Josh Gaddis mentioned Andrew Vastardis has really stepped up and become a leader. I was curious what you've seen from Andrew so far throughout camp and practices.
I think just from a communication standpoint, I think that's definitely where his biggest role has been as a leader. When I'm lined up, I can always hear him, making the correct points and whatnot on the line and getting everybody on the line, getting everything for them resolved for what they need to be doing. So I think V's biggest role as leader and whatnot is definitely communication.
We have one more question for Ronnie here from John Borton.
Hey, Ronnie. Have you thought much about the fact that when you go on the road this season, you're going to be playing in front of basically empty stadiums, and how much of an advantage as opposed to normal that might be for an offense?
I think it would just be weird. I haven't necessarily thought of it as like, an advantage or anything. I honestly haven't thought much of it. I just, like it would just kind of be weird. But I mean, I'm definitely excited to do it anyhow. I just want to play.
Excellent. Well, we appreciate it, Ronnie. I know we're just waiting for Cam to jump on here, but appreciate you participating today, and we'll see you later on.
Yep, right on. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Peace.
Peace. Actually, here comes Cam right now. So if you guys have a question, just put it in the chat function, and I'll call on you as we do with the other stuff. Cam, you there?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. I really appreciate you participating today. Why don't we get started with just talk about what it's been like for you since we got the season reinstituted here in the last 2 weeks.
It brought back a lot of joy ever since June and all the work we put in, and then the season getting canceled. Just really like at a random moment, all of a sudden, kind of puts down the dunce. But Coach Harbaugh and all the other coaches try to keep our spirits up, and we continue working and working. And now it all means something. Season's back. I feel like we're 10 steps ahead of everybody, so I'm ready to get it on.
So our first question is from Hunter.
What's up, Cam? The defense lost a lot of leaders, guys like Khalid Hudson, Josh Uche. How have you embraced a leadership position on this team, and which guys have you noticed stepping up to bigger roles on the defense?
I just try to do my job. I try to lead by example most of the time, but really the leaders that I see on the defense are Carlo Kemp, Kwity Paye, Aiden Hutchinson, Josh Ross, and also Brad Hawkins too. It's like all the other guys that have been playing, have been here. They have really taken the next step to make this defense even better than it was.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Next question is from Jason Lewis.
Hey, Cam. One of the guys that added to the room this year, Ben Van Sumeren, switching sides of the ball. What have you been most impressed with him, and what do you feel like he brings to the linebacking group this year?
Just his size and tenacity. He's such a big guy. He's really decisively fast. You can't when you look at him, you don't think he's that fast, but once he gets out there, he's flying around sideline to sideline. So I'm pretty excited to see him, put the pads on and go against opposing offenses.
Josh Ross also said the other day that he thinks that you guys have the best linebacking group in the nation. What are your kind of thoughts on that, and what do you think is going to make you guys the best?
I totally agree with that statement. I feel like we have the best combination of speed and physicality. Also, just our linebacking group is so smart. Even the young guys, they're catching along really fast and really, really little mental errors. Throughout all practices. So I think this combination of all those things, I think that's what's making us the best in the country.
Thanks, Cam.
Yeah.
Nick Baumgardner.
Hey, Cam, thanks for doing this. Mike Barrett, we've seen Mike run around out there for a couple of years now, and obviously he's going to get a chance. When you guys, and I know you haven't put the pads on or anything, but when you're in the room, can you kind of speak to where he's at in terms of, sort of the mental piece of the game and kind of understand? I mean, he was an offensive guy who's transitioned. Sort of your impressions of him there.
He's more than ready, in my opinion. Me and Mike are boys. We've been talking about this since freshman year, playing together, getting out there, flying around. So he's definitely more than ready physically and mentally. He's been there. Last year he was itching to get in, just waiting his turn, and now it's finally his turn, so he's ready to go off.
Next question is from Ashley.
Hey Cam, I know you guys haven't been full go with practices and stuff as far as contact goes, but going back to, Josh, what has it been like working with him out there since you guys really didn't get a chance to do that in practice last year with his injury?
It's been amazing. It's kind of like being out there with myself sometimes, just sometimes throw on film and we look like the same. We're moving the same, taking the same steps, saying the same things. It's really kind of crazy. And just like Mike, my freshman year, second semester, me and Josh were roommates, and we were talking about playing together and how fun it would be. And now we finally get that chance, and I'm just scared for everybody else. Honestly, I'm scared.
Next question is from John Borton.
Yeah, Cam, you're going to have a lot of inexperience up front on the offensive line and behind center. Does the defense put, even though you'll have confidence, I'm sure, in the offense, will you put an extra onus on the defense to create turnovers early, to hold teams in, to give these guys the best chance you can?
Yeah, of course. And I probably always play football like that. I don't really put too much weight on the offense if, like they need to score, they need to do this. I feel like as a defense, if the other team can't score, they can't win. So, like as many things we can do as a defense, like you said, turnovers, just ways we can alter the game and keep them from winning.
Our next question is from Isaiah.
Hey, Cam, obviously knowing that you haven't put on pads, as everyone's kind of mentioned, but who's been the most impressive that you're going up against on the offensive side when you look at the running backs, just considering you've got so many guys that are kind of coming into their own in their second year?
Sometimes I have flashbacks of me and Chris Evans in high school, me and him going against each other, and sometimes me and him are lined up against each other, and it's just like he's dominating me again. Now I'm like just one step behind him sometimes, but he's definitely out there, and he's definitely just ready to get back out there and go after it.
Next question is from Ed Kongursky.
Cam, if you could, how much have you missed hitting, and what about it just makes you feel alive, if you could describe that?
Hitting is something that I feel like I need at this point in my life. I've been doing it since I was 8 years old, and to almost have it taken away from me for over a year, it was kind of mentally taxing. Especially just because all the work we put in. But now that that's back, and now that I get a chance to really dominate another man on the field for 60 minutes, I'm excited.
What kind of charge does that give you when you lay it on somebody the way you really desire to?
It's definitely a surge of energy throughout my body. I kind of try to stand over them, without making it too obvious to let them know that I'm better than them. So,
thanks.
Yeah.
Our next question is from Orion.
Obviously, Josh Ross has played middle linebacker before, a lot of it. I'm curious if there's a noticeable difference having him and you in the middle of the defense, sort of leading that unit, making the calls, adjusting. If you've noticed anything like that.
Yeah, I think it's, just both of our physical abilities with just what we know mentally. Me and Josh both know the Mike and Will position. We both trained at it, played at it. So I think that really is an advantage for us as linebackers of the defense to know, like, both of those positions and just everything that's going on around us. So I think really no other linebacker core can say they have linebackers that have those abilities. So I think that's an advantage.
Mm-hmm. And then you yourself, you were thrown into the fire last year. Kind of, how would you say your understanding of the game has grown since when you first started?
It's grown a whole lot. The game slowed down a lot. I see little things a lot more. It's just like my eyes have opened a little bit wider. And like you said, like I was thrown in the fire, but I was ready. But now I'm well prepared and I'm ready to go out there.
Our next question is from Rainer.
You muted. You're muted.
Rainer, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Yeah, you guys played a lot more zone last year. Do you guys see yourselves continuing to do that this year, or do you feel like you guys are going to go back to kind of more the man defense that's kind of been a staple of Don Brown's scheme?
I'm not really sure, to really actually be honest. Coach Brown, he does what he sees fit. He does what he believes his guys can do, and he always believes his guys can play man defense for every single snap of the game. So, it's really up in the air at this point.
And from a understanding standpoint, how hard is it to kind of pick up the defense for a young player, or do you feel it's a pretty easy scheme to grasp early on?
I feel like personally for me, it was hard just because I was the only linebacker coming in my class. And, just everybody above me already knew what was going on. But these past 2 years, there's been multiple linebackers coming in, the freshman class, and they've had each other to, fall back on. And they've also had us to fall back on. So I think since I've been here, the younger linebackers have definitely gone faster than me in terms of mentally taking in like what you need to do on defense.
Thanks.
Our next question is from Aaron.
Cam, you've got a new position coach, obviously. How has he been? How do you get along with him, and what have you taken from him so far?
Yeah, Coach BJ, he's a really cool guy. I feel like he was like the perfect person for this job. He just really makes the linebacker room feel like a true family. We all come in there, we all just like it's just family vibes, and like even on the practice field, like we're just having normal conversation. Of course it's football time, but it's just all relaxed, it's comfortable.
We have a couple more questions for Cam here, so we're going to start with Angelique.
Cam, two things. In your opening statement, you said you guys feel like you're 10 steps ahead of everybody. When did you feel that, and why do you feel that?
Coach Harbaugh said once the season got canceled, he wanted to, stay ready so we don't have to get ready. And I wholeheartedly believe in that statement because, a lot of teams just stopped practicing, just went home, but we stayed down, 10 toes down, and just kept grinding. And like we've literally like have not stopped working since we came here like June 13th, June 15th. So like, I just feel like we're just way ahead of everybody in conditioning in terms of, like the football mindset, what we have to do on the field, or just everything.
And also, Cam, I just wanted to, you mentioned Chris Evans. How often did you guys meet in high school? How often did he beat you? And how close are you now?
I never beat him in high school, not once. I think it was my sophomore year. He had like 400 yards. I used to be at the same camps as him. He's coached at some camps I've been to. So we've always been around each other, in the city. But when I got up here my freshman year, we would like ride back home together. We would talk a lot. So he's definitely been like an older brother to me now since I've been in Michigan.
Our next question is from Brandon Brown.
Hey, Cam, I actually wanted to ask another Chris Evans question too. I talked to him at the protest, and he said that he wanted football back more than anybody on the roster. Given his journey and how well you know him. Just do you think that's accurate? I mean, I know you guys all want to play, but how much do you think he wants this?
Yeah, like I truly believe he wants it more than anybody. Even more than me. He's had a really rough journey, but he's stuck it out. He's tried his hardest to give back as much as he can, to the kids with his foundations and all that. So I think just from that, you can really see how much he wants this. And yeah, he's about to go out there and like a show on fire.
And with that, seems like a really good fit for what Josh Gaddis wants to do, maybe more so than when he played in the past. Just, as someone defending him, what have you seen ability-wise?
They're really utilizing his speed and, just his elusiveness. They're really getting him out in space. And, some like I remember yesterday I saw him and Hassan in the backfield. I was like, oh my God. I was like, what is going on? So, yeah, I'm like really excited to see what our offense can do this year.
Cool. Thank you.
Our last question is from Isaiah.
Cam, we already know obviously those the three of you that are likely to be starting, but what do you see from the guys behind you? Who's really impressed you in that linebacker room, or who's made that big step forward this offseason?
I think Nakai Hill-Green. I think he's like progressed the fastest as terms of in like the mental aspect of being a linebacker. Like his keys, his reads, his assignments. He's definitely faster than I was, and that like really impressed me. And it's been some times where he's been next to me out on the field, and sometimes he makes a call before I do. So that really excites me, for his future as a linebacker here in Michigan.
And if I could actually ask one more, You've talked about playing kind of in lockstep with Josh Ross, and just looking at kind of the entirety of the defense. Does this defense feel like maybe it's a little faster than some of these previous years, or on the same wavelength, or how do you see it?
Yeah, in terms of just practice right now and what we're doing over the summer, I definitely feel like it's one of our fastest defenses. I can't really say from last year or the year before, but right now being out there playing and just practicing running around, I feel like we're faster than the years before.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Cam. Appreciate it. Appreciate you participating today. Have a great afternoon of practice, and appreciate the media.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
You appreciate us, Dave?
Well, 98%. Angelique, I want you to know that the vote was very split on whether or not to allow you into the Zoom today.
Why, because my hair?
No, it was just we had it up for a vote. There was a media vote.
I'm surprised that I was allowed in then.
Well, you're lucky that Wojo wasn't on.
That's true.
Dave, do you know what you're doing with the press box yet, or are you guys still in talks?
Not yet.
Not yet.
We'll let you know here soon. I know we're having a lot of discussions internally and both at the Big Ten. So we'll keep you posted. But I know it's definitely going to be scaled back quite a bit. Some of it's going to be dependent upon what the state guidelines are.
Are you going to use the suites?
I don't know that they're going to activate any of them or not. So that's I know that's something that the Lions were doing for at least their first game, but I don't know that we'll utilize any suites at this moment. So,
okay, cool.
But we will keep you posted. But I know that it'll obviously be scaled back some.
Sounds good.
All right. You guys have a good day.
You have to live in state to cover the games?
That should be a rule.
I don't know. That's a good question, Angelique.
Well, I mean,
where's your residence at right now?
Mine. I'm talking about Ashley.
Well, Toledo was part of the state of Michigan, so I would classify them.
If it was Kyle, I feel like you would say, yes, you absolutely have to live in Michigan, but not me.
No, not you. Not you.
Very rude.